What is your favorite place to study? Describe it and explain why you like studying there. Include details and examples in your explanation. Some people like humorous stories that make them laugh. Others prefer stories that are more serious and make them think. Which type of story do you prefer and why? Include details and examples in your explanation. Now, listen to two students as they discuss the announcement.
Did you read the announcement from the dean?
You mean the one about the new credit requirements?
Yeah, it's kind of strict, don't you think? I mean, why should we have to take another mathematics course if we're not a math major?
The dean thinks we need more math and writing, and he knows what he's talking about. I guess the idea is that everyone needs stronger skills. Math is important in business. I know it's true in my mother's business. She's always telling me about how her employees make accounting errors that really hurt the business.
Well, yeah, I agree with you that math is important in business.
Almost every kind of job needs either math or writing, or both. I can see why graduate schools want good writers because grad students have to do so much writing. Like, they have to write a thesis or a dissertation.
Yeah, I want to go to graduate school in psychology.
Businesses need good writers, too. It's important for the company's reputation. For example, it looks bad if there are a lot of mistakes in written reports and company email.
The woman expresses her opinion about the new credit requirements. State her opinion and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion. Now listen to part of a talk in a biology class.
The cat has several specialized nerve endings or sensory receptors throughout its skin that respond to various sensations. The hair follicles of the cat are richly supplied with several types of touch receptors. These are responsive to the slightest movement, and so they provide a close-range detection system. As with most meat eaters, this system is highly developed in the stiff, coarse whiskers on the cat's face. The cat's whiskers are long, stiff, highly touch-sensitive hairs. Cats generally have about 12 whiskers in rows on each upper lip, a few on each cheek, and a few bristles on the chin. The long sensory whiskers are more than twice as thick as the rest of the hairs in the cat's coat and extend 3 times deeper into the skin. The whiskers have a rich supply of blood vessels and a dense network of nerves. The slightest whisker movement stimulates the nerve endings and provides the brain with information on the cat's immediate surroundings. Whiskers can even detect very slight motion, such as air currents. The whiskers are important in sensing and investigating close objects. Cats rely heavily on their whiskers in dim light, when their eyes cannot focus well on very close objects. The whiskers are sensitive to air currents deflected by objects. This is why the cat can feel its way in the dark without actually making contact with objects. Loss of the whiskers will hinder a cat's ability to get around in the dark.
Describe the whiskers of a cat and explain how the whiskers function as sensory receptors. Now listen to part of a conversation between two students.
Hey, did you hear about the special event tonight?
Special event? No. What about it?
It's a panel discussion about politics. There will be guest speakers. I think about 3 or maybe 4 people, journalists and politicians, tonight in the lecture hall. It's going to be on television, so it should be good. You should definitely come to this.
I'd love to. Oh, no. Tonight I have plans. I'll be meeting with my tutor. She's helping me study for a test.
That's too bad. Can't you cancel a meeting with your tutor? I mean, try to meet her at a different time or something.
I don't know. That might be hard. She's busy too, and it's kind of hard to find a time that works for the both of us. My test is coming up, and I really need the extra time to study.
Why don't you ask her anyway? You never know unless you ask.
You think so? It's kind of short notice.
You can't miss the panel discussion.
Well, I don't know. I'd like to go. I love hearing about politics.
Another thing you could do is, this event will be on television, so you can record it and watch it later. I mean, it won't be as much fun as being there in person, but at least you get to see what they talk about. Do you have a VCR?
No, I don't.
I don't either. Otherwise, I'd tape it for you. You must know someone who could record it.
Describe the woman's problem and the 2 suggestions the man makes about how to solve it. What do you think the woman should do, and why? Now, listen to part of a lecture in a psychology class.
Some people have certain abnormalities in the brain that make it hard for them to process and absorb information. These problems, which can make learning to read and write difficult, are usually noticed first in school. A child with a learning disability may have trouble keeping up with his classmates, difficulty remembering, or difficulty concentrating. One type of learning disability is dyslexia. A child with dyslexia has normal vision and intelligence, but has difficulty reading because he perceives the letters in words differently. He may see letters backwards, upside down, or sideways. This problem, this inability to process written information, makes it difficult for a child to learn to read and write. Another type of learning disability causes some children to have trouble translating their thoughts into writing. They can usually communicate well by speaking, but when they try to write, they can become completely blocked and can't write at all, or they can only write very slowly. Their handwriting may look like that of a much younger child, or they may have trouble with spelling. A third type of learning disability is the inability to focus on a task for a long period of time. This problem, called attention deficit disorder, is caused by differences in brain activity that affect the ability to concentrate. The disorder is usually accompanied by hyperactivity, extreme overactivity. Children with attention deficit disorder have trouble sitting still, paying attention, and controlling impulses, and this interferes with schoolwork, friendships, and family life. Fortunately, we now understand that learning disabilities can be treated. If left untreated, they can lead to a variety of problems for children later on, such as difficulty with reading and writing or problems with math skills.
Using points and examples from the lecture, describe 3 types of learning disabilities and explain how they can affect a child's ability to learn.